Welcome to another episode of Latrenda's Crazy Contraptions for Dogs. I saw a lady recently at a meetup who had this small item with a plunger that she pushed down with her thumb to dispense soft treats while her dog walked. And I thought, what a wonderful idea. That's exactly what I need for Puddin' to keep her by my side. It's very hard for me to bend down and give her treats because she's a Dachshund mix and she's really low to the ground. And she said she got this item in Germany, and I haven't seen anything in the pet stores on the internet that equates it exactly. And besides, if you can come up with something that's not a dog item that does the same thing, it's probably going to be cheaper. So first, I went to the commissary on base and I looked for those pastry bags, something I could squeeze out, and I wanted something longer than the small item that she had. And the only pastry things they had were already filled with pastry. The only thing I found at the commissary were these marinade injectors, and they look like a large hypodermic needle without the needle. So these could be useful if your dog is medium to large, probably. Or you could have, if you have access to hypodermic needles, some large needles without the needle, of course, just the syringe part or the plunger part. And I also found this at the BX. They probably have these at Walmart or some other department store in the baking section. This one is, the company is Wilton Dessert Decorator Plus. And as you can see, it's a pretty large item with a plunger, and it has different types of things you can put on the bottom. These are some of the different dispensers that you can use to screw onto the bottom of the device. Since I'm going to be using this for Puddin', I use the longest dispenser that they have because I want to be able to reach down to her without having to bend too much. And if you're going to dispense something besides something really creamy, you could even unscrew this and have just a large opening, maybe to dispense meat or something, which would be great for Lupe because she's not into fruits and veggies. Now, both the kids and I are into single ingredient treats and foods, so I didn't want to use that creamy, cheesy stuff that they use for Kongs, which would probably really work. So what I put in this plunger actually was canned pumpkin. And I made sure that it was only the 100% pumpkin. It has no added sugar or anything. You can get this in the bakery aisle as well. As you can see, it's used to make pumpkin pie. And I just used this large spoon. The instructions say use a spatula. And I unscrewed the top and I just stuffed some pumpkin in here. And the goal is to pump it out here and dispense it to the dogs. I also went ahead and gave a shot to the marinade injector. I'm going to use some pureed sweet potatoes. It's actually baby food, but the only ingredient is pureed sweet potatoes. And of course I could scoop this in as well, or what I'm going to do, I've got to put the camera down because I think I'm going to need two hands for this. I'm going to just shove it in here and then pull up on the plunger. Now this one is full of sweet potato. I'm going to take a step back so you can have a bigger view of the items there. Now the dogs have been waiting patiently to give this a try, so I'm going to call them in. Puddin', Matt, come. There's Matt, and he's sitting nicely. He's ready to take some, and Puddin's being rude, of course. She's the baby. And let's just give it a squat. Puddin' stole it. I was trying to give it to Matt since he was sitting, but Puddin' stole it. As you can see, Matt really loves the pumpkin. And this is a great way not only for walking exercise, but if you want to give out some really mushy treats, you don't want to get your hands dirty, you can see this is a great way to do it. And to kind of control the flow. Puddin', you want to try it? And because this plunger is actually so long and Puddin' is low to the ground, I'm barely bending over to give it to her. Let's see if she'll follow me if I walk. Puddin', come. Come. And she is following me around. So we're going to try it later tonight. I don't know about the lighting in PetSmart, but we've been practicing our loose leash walking in PetSmart. So we're going to try it just Puddin' in myself later. Let's see if Murphy wants some. Here's Murphy. He's a little shyer than the others, so he's a little timid with new objects sometimes, but as you can see, he also likes it. Puddin' Lupe is busy barking at something. She's not into fruits and veggies anyway, but you could use some pureed meat in here if you have a dog who's into meat. If you don't want to grind the meat yourself, you can use some baby food like chicken or turkey or beef baby food. Just read the ingredients and try to get the single ingredient kind. Try not to get anything with added salt. Oh, before we head to PetSmart's, this is the one that I put the pureed baby food sweet potato in. And this one's a little messier. It's harder for me to control this plunger. See what I did? I squirted some on the floor. But putting it under mine, she's gonna lick it up for me. But as you can see, Matt loves it. Let's see about Murphy. Yeah, Murphy likes it also. So I'm not gonna take this one to PetSmart, so I don't want to squirt sweet potato on their floor. But as long as you have a good control over the plunger, it might take some practice, then this could work as well, especially if you have a medium-sized dog or a large dog. You probably don't need something as big as the other pastry apparatus. Now with this one, I have to bend over slightly to reach put in his mouth. Here you go. Here. Well, we are at PetSmart and we've been practicing our loose leash walking, and I was hoping that she would follow the dispenser so well that I would be able to hold the camera and dispense this, but I had to hold on to the leash with one hand and dispense with the other because she was more distracted than I thought. So next time we'll bring a more high value item to the store. She likes the pumpkin a lot, but apparently all the other sights and sounds of PetSmart are more interesting, so we might have to try some pureed meat next time. Also, I'm not sure what happened here. Just be aware, while I was sitting with this on my lap, I turned it upside down a little bit and I got some leakage on my pants. I'm not sure if it came out through where it screws in here or through here, but some liquid came out from the pumpkin, so it made a little bit of, just a tiny bit of a mess. Now the thing that's great about this is it's long, so I don't have to bend over, but that's also an issue when I'm not using it. I really don't have any place to put it, and I don't have a way to cap off the end so it won't make a mess. As you can see, it won't fit into my treat bag. But overall, even though it has its cons, I do like it as a treat dispenser. I'm sure I can find more uses for it as I get used to all its intricacies. And like I said, even if you don't use it for walking training, it does make a great messy treat dispenser.